means family. Family means nobody
gets left behind
or forgotten.
What's up, everyone? I just finished watching the live adaptation remake of Lilo and Stitch. I just finished watching this in theaters. Originally, this movie is going to be just dumped on Disney Plus with the old regime, but ever since Moana started making money, and a couple of the other projects that were supposed to be on streaming got put out in theaters and were making money, they put this movie out in theaters, which is a smart move because this weekend a lot of people have been going to the movie theaters for Memorial Weekend. Over here where I am from, a lot of people have also been out of school this weekend, so this is the perfect film for the weekend. So guys, I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion on Lilo Stitch, and it was a great time. But before we get started, guys, make sure we hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure that we also turn on those notification bells, and we stay tuned to all of the movie news, reviews, and trailer breakdowns. Cool? So this live action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch follows, this Hawaiian lonely girl named Lilo, and she is, pretty much taking care about her sister, and it follows them pretty much, trying to navigate night from the loss of their parents, and then out of nowhere we get hit with a, kind of a crash UFO that lands out of nowhere, and pretty much that's where Stitch comes into play. I'm gonna give you guys, my honest opinions of the entire movie. I think the movie was very, it was well done in a sense where, it got straight to the point. We seen the original Lilo and Stitch movie. We got straight to the point, and it just, pretty much followed pretty much from the beginning to the end how the movie plays out. There's a couple of key differences that I'm gonna mention. How they pretty much handle Jumba and Pleakley. It's a lot different. Pretty much Jumba and Pleakley, as you guys know, are the two characters that are sent to Earth from another planet to pretty much retrieve Stitch and bring him back. Zach Galifianakis plays Jumba, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, his voice is not matched to face. I know I'm not crazy. I've never been a big fan of. I mean, it's not that I'm not a big fan of the first one, but I was never really hardcore fan of the first one, like a lot of people are, and people say that his the original Jumba does not match the voice of Zach Galifianakis, which I think it's fair, trying to switch things up a little bit, but still, Zach Galifianakis, it did not give me did not fit the body that this alien had. Also, you see more of a serious alien. Serious kind of alien scientist rather than kind of like a kind of more of a funnier kind of scientist and stuff like that, which he was in the first one. Peakley was pretty decent in my opinion. I don't really like how when they get to Earth they change it to humans. It kind of defeats the purpose of them walking around and navigating the alien life. I liked it more when they were aliens. I'm gonna get to Lilo. She is played. I apologize for saying the name incorrectly. I think it's Maya Kealoha. She does a pretty good job. Overall, the acting is pretty, BC level acting, but she was very charming, which she needed to be. She was very likable, which she needed to be. She brought the emotion out, what she needed to do, and it was pretty fun. I think she was a great Lilo. I think people are really gonna like her. She's very charming, and then we also have Nani, that's played by Sydney. I cannot say her last name. Agudong. She's pretty decent, to be honest. I think they did what they could with these actors and the level of actors that they brought over to play these roles. I think they had a pretty good chemistry, Nani and Lilo, but they did change a couple of things. So let me pretty much start off with with the social service coming through. I do not remember in the first one there was a female that came. I just remember it being Cobra Bubbles, and he worked for the CIA the entire time. In this one, what they do is they have an actual social worker coming in and checking in on Lilo, and exactly like the same one. They come in, she comes in, Lilo's mad because Cindy missed a practice, and then she's outside trying to go in. Lilo locks her out. I think they could have done that part way better. There's a couple scenes even in the beginning opening space sequence, I thought it was a little bit rushed. If I'm being 100% honest, there's some jokes that they would have sat on them a little bit more. I think we got a louder laugh. Everyone was laughing over on the theater, so I think it's still a good sign that you have people engaged laughing in the theaters. The person that plays a social worker. Her name is Tia Carrere. She is a social worker. She comes, checks in on her, pretty much tells her she has 3 days to get her stuff together. Then Bubble comes in, Cobra comes into play a little bit later. He pretty much works for the CIA, is undercover as a social worker that's gonna bring Lilo's case. Pretty much accelerate the case because it is pretty much they're gonna bring it to a higher level just because he figures out that Stitch is how it plays out in the first one, living in this house that Lilo adopted Stitch earlier throughout the days. So he's out to try to figure out who's this Stitch alien that's coming around. It pretty much just feels like the first one, guys. The pacing is pretty decent pacing. In the beginning, I think it was rushed, a little bit rushed. There was a couple scenes where I had a little bit of my eye rolling scene. So I'll give you one quick example. There's a sample where Stitch is in the bottom of the ocean. He is drowning, and Nani goes in and saves him. But for how it works with Stitch's gravity is a lot more. A lot more when he's on Earth. The gravity is different for him. It's pretty hard to pick him up. So what Nani does is picks him up in the middle of the ocean, guys. Picks him up just like have you guys seen that? People training underwater with rocks and stuff like that and going across the pool and stuff or across the water. She does this in the middle of the ocean all the way down the shore, which is so. I guess she is trained to do that because she is a surfer and her mom used to do workouts like that, which I thought was a cool touch. They went back to that, but she was in the middle of the ocean, guys. She held her breath for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Not saying it's impossible, but yeah, it was a little odd. It seemed like like she just all of a sudden had underwater breathing powers. But I mean, those are the little things that you can get over. I think some of the script writing was pretty. I think it could have been a little bit better. I think they could have dialed in the backstory of Nani and Lilo's struggle, not just because they're going back and forth at each other like they do in the first one, and kind of Lilo's acting now on Nani. I think they could have just touched a little bit more on that. I think the things that they did great is when they focus on Ohana, which means family. I think they did that phenomenal job. All the emotional parts, I think they knocked it out the park. At the end, they when the council from the other planet comes down to retrieve Stitch, they're about to take him. That part was pretty sad, and I think it had a lot of people feeling sad in the movies, and had a lot of people emotional in the movie theater when that part was going down. The comedy was pretty funny. There was a couple dialogue scenes in there where the Jumba and Peakley were saying some of the Hawaiian names and words a little incorrectly, which I thought was pretty funny. Instead of Ohana, they were saying Ohana, and then also when they were saying Lilo, he kept saying Lisa. I think it was Jumba that kept saying Lisa, which I thought was pretty funny. Every time they were doing it, I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing, had the movie theater laughing. Overall, guys, I think my reactions for Stitch have been pretty good. I think I really like the pacing of it. I had a great time, watching the film. I think the CGI effects were pretty good considering this was going to be on the streaming service. I don't want to say the film was cinematic at all, but there's a lot of it that you can just tell they had a little bit more lower budget, which is totally fine. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be high budget because it was going to be on streaming service. But overall, I think this film is really funny, heartful. It has a good message that has to do with family, not leaving people behind, and staying strong to your roots and heritage. With that, I thought it was pretty good overall. But yeah, guys, that was my thoughts on Lilo and Stitch. I thought it was a really good remake. It had people in the movie theaters, cheering, clapping, and I think this is a great film for Memorial Weekend. I recommend you for yourself to see it with someone else. Take your kids, take your nieces and nephews because this movie was awesome. All right, guys, but that was it. That was my review for Lilo and Stitch, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the film and write down your comments down below. And don't forget to hit that notification button.